This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hello everybody and welcome to show 139, the famous Aussie Mac Zone. So unfortunately it's just Michael tonight. Gar's been having some bandwidth issues, just couldn't sort it out, I'm sorry. But of course we're still brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au, our mates Glenn and the crew there. Australian servers in Sydney, affordable competitive plans, accepting PayPal, 24/7 ticket support, friendly help when needed, and from $5.95 per month when paid annually. So thanks to all the boys there, thank you. So, our Aussie Apple Ramblings this week. One of the big ones that I'm really looking forward to, as long as I haven't left it too late for my ticket, is an evening with Steve Wozniak. So it starts off reading, once upon a 20th century, humanity was captivated by the foresight of science fiction writers and filmmakers. Those dignified, daunting, dreamy glimpses into an imagined future would soon become a reality with the turn of the information age, due in no small part to the contributions of Steve Wozniak. In August of 2016, Australia will have the pleasure of being in the company of someone who can be said to have truly, literally changed the world. Among the many accomplishments for which Woz is renowned, two stand out above the rest. The inventor of the personal computer, and along with Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. So he starts off on the 23rd of August in Auckland, then he goes to Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney. So you can get tickets, and all the information is at www.thinkinc, that's inc.org.au/events/was. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Glenn's going to the one in Brisbane too for a start, so something very much to look forward to. So another one of these unusual stories. Terrifying Wi-Fi hotspot name causes chaos on Qantas plane. So the Next Web reports a Qantas flight from Melbourne to Perth was delayed from taking off over the weekend thanks to a prankster who named their Wi-Fi hotspot Mobile Detonation Device. The hotspot name was flagged by a worried passenger after it was seen in the flight entertainment hub, and the pilot then asked the owner to come forward, but nobody owned up. Eventually it was assumed to be a prank, potentially from a device inside the terminal, and the flight was cleared for takeoff. But about 40 people decided not to chance it and had their luggage taken off, according to sources speaking to the West Australian. So that added to the delay, but don't want to get caught doing that. There's plenty of funny ones. Enjoy the funny ones, like "Tell my wife I love her" is an example in one of the ones I saw today. But yeah, please think about that and where you are. Might be all right in sit in the coffee shop in the middle of town. I don't know. I don't think it's ever all right. But yeah, just have a think about that one, whoever it is. Has Apple missed a trick with iMessage? So Apple's second biggest revenue generator after the iPhone is no longer the Mac, even though they sold 4 million, only 4 million. I can remember when they sold 4 million. That's all they had. But yeah, they sold 4 million the last quarter. So it is intangible services like iTunes, the App Store, and Apple Pay, which grew to $6 billion, that's US, or 20% of overall revenue in the quarter ending March 26. The shift to services is important for Apple at a time when sales of the iPhone, iPad and iMac are slowing. the company reported its first ever annual decline in iPhone sales this quarter. Yeah, right. That's based on the percentage of everything around the world. The good news is that Apple now has an active user base of 1 billion devices and an ocean of Apple faithful, that's me, and you, I hope, that it can encourage to continue spending on software and in internet services made by Apple. Yet one crucial web business, which Apple seems to have neglected, is that of messaging. Messaging has been touted as the new frontier for tech. Even the big platform after iOS and Android, Facebook, has spent the last year turning its chat app Messenger into what it hoped will become a thriving marketplace for businesses and a new source of ad sales and transaction fees for Facebook. Apple hasn't done the same with iMessage, even though its chat app is one of the most popular in the world by virtue of having 1 billion users of its handheld gadgets. So till now there's been no need. The money from those hardware sales was enough to break records quarter after quarter. That story was thanks to Forbes. So yeah, I don't know whether I fully agree with it, but I know someone who was using WeChat today to talk from overseas to work, so he didn't have to pay for roaming charges, as he figured the data was cheaper than paying roaming charges on the phone. So that's just an interesting little thing. Now Apple just did something it hasn't done in 18 years. Apple stock closed 0.1% lower Monday US time, hitting a benchmark it hasn't in nearly 2 decades. By ending the trading session lower, the tech giant extended its losing streak to 8 days. The last time Apple fell 8 consecutive trading sessions was July 1998. Apple stock, once considered a darling among Wall Street investors and analysis, has been under pressure recently. And yeah, like they only made 10 billion with a B, $billion last quarter profit. Yeah, billion. That's all they made. Yeah, I'm sorry. Everyone wants something new from Apple every day, and they're quite happily churning along the way they are at the moment. We don't know what they're making in the background. There's stories of a car. There's lots of things that they could come along and interrupt with. Maybe not as fast as we'd like or they'd like, but yeah. Haven't been in the highs and lows. It's still very high. Yes. Now, Apple's Mac reaches 9.2 per share on the web as Windows PC use sinks to new low. So new data from Net Applications shows that Apple's installed base of Mac users now account for 9.2% of the conventional PCs used online, as Windows Microsoft platform falls to a new low among online users. So, you know, it was just another 4 million last quarter, and, you know, 4 million the quarter before that, and 4 million the quarter before that. It's a lot of machines. That adds up pretty quick, and people are still buying them, you know. So, whereas they're not tending to buy big Windows machines. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it pans out with Windows 10 on, whether they call that like the little HP device I saw today, which was nice. But is that a iPod with a keyboard, or what's the equivalent? I don't know when it's running Windows 10, because that's good thinking by Microsoft that everything runs on the machine, supposedly. So I know Leo Laporte was waiting to get his new HP machine. He was going to see what it was like. So interesting to see. So it's brought me to the time of, sorry about that noise there, but Aussie Tech Radio. So we've got our friend. Sorry about this. Sorry. Aussie Tech Radio at www.aussietechradio.com. And remember, there's two guys talking tech, or your tech life, or those Aussie tech heads, Dusty, Eye Blind Tech. There's a few there. And remember, if you do an Australian podcast and you want to get it up there, just get in contact with Glenn, and I'm sure you can work things out together. And don't forget, up there is also Aussie Tech Security Podcast and Aussie Tech Heads. That Aussie Tech Security Podcast is important if you want to know what's going on and how people are trying to scam you. I listen to ABC radio down here sometimes in the car, not normally, but it was in between podcasts the other day, and they were talking about people being run and saying they were from the ACCC, and that this person was owed $8,000 in bank fees or uncharged interest or something, and if you send us $1,000, we'll arrange to have it all sorted for you. And he ended up doing it twice. He ended up paying $2,000, and he was never going to get his $8,000. So little things like that, you got to keep telling your family, don't do it. Never click on a button that says, you need the latest flash driver to watch this. If you see that, you close it, you go to the flash site and download it, for example. Same as getting rid of, there was one this week, getting rid of QuickTime 7, mind you, 7, on Windows machines. The American government sent out a comment about that this week. And I thought none of my customers used it, and I found one that MYOB use it for letting you scan and put PDF pictures of your logos and things on your invoices in account right on Windows machines. So they've got a software upgrade for that, so just be aware. And remember, keep telling your family, don't get conned, please. So I've got a how-to for you. Turn off your Mac. So this is how to speed up your Mac, I should say. Turn off your Mac, turn on holding down Command and S till you get text on the screen. So you have to do that to turn it off, especially for wireless keyboards. Wired ones you can restart, but our Apple Bluetooth keyboards, you have to actually turn them off. So we're holding down Command and S for Sam till we get text on the screen, and then you'll notice the text stops progressing down the screen, and about 3 lines from the bottom, the text you should see is /SBIN/FSCK space -FY. So type it just start typing as you see it with the space and hit return, and then you'll see it start to move, checking catalog file, checking extents tree, etc. And when it's finished, it will say the disk Macintosh HD appears to be okay, or the disk Macintosh HD has been repaired. Now type reboot and hit return, and when it has started, open disk utilities from the application utilities folder, select Macintosh HD in the left column, and now tap the first aid, and it'll go through. It might take 1 minute or 5 minutes, and then restart your machine. So another little one that I was reminded of this week was in El Capitan we can move the spotlight window around. So frustrating people in Yosemite was the spotlight window was fixed right in the middle of the screen. So when you go Command space bar and you start typing Safari to open Safari, or Pages to open Pages, etc., or you're trying to look for a file on your machine, it was always right in the middle of the screen. And now you can move it wherever you like on your screen, and it'll be there each time you open, and you can move it around any time. So you just click on the spotlight result box, and move it to where you want on the screen, just on the border of the box there, and just move it around like you would it was an ordinary screen off Pages or Word, etc. So another little one is pin tabs in Safari. There's my little buddy. In Safari, you can pin favourite sites to the menu bar. A simple way of adding a shortcut like Facebook or YouTube, or even Aussie Mac Zone, ends up with just a little like 6mm square with the logo there, so you know what it is. It adds another row of icons under your favourites. So when you got the web page up, you go to your window menu and choose Pin Tab. So that's how you get that there. It's just a convenient way, especially for things you want to get to quick, but you don't want the whole word showing up on that favourites bar, or you might have all your favourites sorted out up there. So, lastly, our thoughts go out to friends and family of the Apple staff member who died at the campus last week. So, those of you who know what happened, that's where I'm going to leave it. And hopefully Garth will be back with us next week. Glenn will be back with us soon. And I'd like to thank you all for coming. I know it doesn't take very long when it's just my dulcet tones rambling on, but there you go. Thanks for coming. I hope you all have a good time, and I'll see you next week. Bye.